Hello friends, this is Monish, and today I have for you a self-help motivational book for review. And the book is How Will You Measure Your Life, written by Clayton M. Christensen and first published in 2012. Instead of being complicated, this book is quite simple. The author has taken a very business-like, practical approach to measuring our lives, or rather give us the measures, the parameters that we need to focus on to see if we will be successful or not. And then he has very good advice on how to go about focusing and achieving these measures. So it really boils down to the meat of everything and not on the periphery. And in the meat, there are fundamentals to be aware of and basics to put in place. And therefore, basics and fundamentals, the ideas in this book are quite simple, but then we all know that not always simple is easy, right? However, I really like this book for the fact that it has focused on simple, basic fundamentals of our lives and given advice on how to go about ensuring that these fundamentals are in place and we focus on them. So, without further ado, let me tell you the 3 takeaways from this book. And the number 1 feature or the takeaway is career. The author is very clear about pursuing a career, doing something that you love. There are several pages, in fact, a lot of the book is devoted on persuading us to not follow the money. And then if we do that, the author goes about telling us the consequences that are usually negative. So the best advice in this book about career is that do it for the love of it, not for the money. And from other self-help authors or the geniuses that are out there, they do say the same thing, that if you love something that you do, money will eventually follow. And if you're doing something for the money, then as per the author, and trust me as well, life is going to be miserable. It's like slaving to the corporate world, and we don't want to do that. The second measure to focus on is family, relationships. And honestly, we are a sum of our relationships in this world, right? I mean, career, money, what are we going to do with it if we do not have good relationships? And the author has very beautifully given examples from real life on how people, when focusing on their careers or focusing on something else, tend to neglect their family, their spouse, their children, and then those decisions or that neglect then later on has quite an impact on their lives, and again a negative one. There are stories from this book, the real life examples that the author has shared about people going to jail, people filing for bankruptcy, children becoming delinquent, and all as a consequence of not focusing on doing a job that you love and not focusing on your career and on your children from very early on. And one very good advice that I liked was that, you know, in your family, you should try and inculcate the values around hard work. Like start a project, you know, build a tree house, involve your children in it. And when they see that you're working hard and you're enjoying yourself, from very early on, they do not resist working hard. In fact, they build that muscle. So that's something that I really liked about this book, this advice. The third, and I believe the most important advice that Clayton M. Christensen has given in this book is about integrity. He's not gone on to explain that why integrity is, I mean, of course he has, you know, and the way he has explained it is how, you know, criminals end up being criminals when they started by doing something really small that didn't even seem to matter in the situation, and then it developed into something big. So something seemingly inconsequential, you feel that it's okay, I can compromise here, or $1 here or $1 there, and no one will know. That is exactly when we need to draw a line and say, no, we're not going to do it ever. So for example, you've had a few drinks and you're going to drive a car to just 3 or 4 blocks away, and you know that you might get away with it because it's just a 5-minute drive, right? But the thing is, if we do that once, maybe next time we'll do it again and drive to maybe 8 blocks away or further on. And that's just a very small example of how one compromise on integrity, fundamental rules that we establish for ourselves, can lead to something big, huge, and again have negative impacts on our lives. So guys, this book, the ideas in it are quite simple, but it is refreshing to have focused on those simple ideas. Why? Because these are absolutely critical. In fact, it's the crux of life in general. And if we focus on our career, family, and integrity, I believe these are the three pillars that we can build our castles on. And let me give you my rating for it, on this book. Because it's refreshing to read something that is simple to understand and eliminates all the riffraff, I therefore give this book a 7 out of 10. That's my rating. And yeah, of course, I do recommend it. Please pick it up and read it. So guys, that was my spiel on How Will You Measure Your Life by Clayton M. Christensen. Until next time, happy reading.